Why do older adults wake up at 3 a.m.? The deeper truth behind it. One of the most powerful reasons older adults keep waking up at 3 a.m. lies in the way our internal body clock, or circadian rhythm, changes with age. The body is designed with a natural 24-hour rhythm, controlled by a small part of the brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, SCN. This rhythm governs when we feel sleepy, when we feel alert, and even how our organs function. But as people grow older, this clock begins to shift forward, almost like it is running faster than before. For a younger person, midnight feels like the middle of the night, but for many seniors, the brain and body interpret it as being much later than it really is. As a result, they often feel sleepy earlier in the evening, sometimes by 8 or 9 p.m. And naturally, they wake up much earlier too. By 3 a.m., their internal system may already believe it's morning, even when the rest of the world is fast asleep. This isn't just a random annoyance, it carries deep meaning. It reminds us that aging is not only about physical change, but also about a shift in how time is experienced. For seniors, the early hours of the morning are often the quietest, most peaceful moments of the day. The world is silent, distractions are few, and the heart feels more open to reflection. While younger people may see 3 a.m. awakenings as a problem, older adults can learn to embrace it as a natural stage of life. A moment to pray, to meditate, or simply to sit with their thoughts. Of course, health also plays a role. With age, the production of melatonin, the hormone that signals the body to sleep, naturally declines. This makes it harder to stay asleep throughout the night. But even here, there is wisdom hidden in the change. The body, in its own way, is teaching us to slow down, to listen more closely, and to value rest in smaller, meaningful pockets rather than long stretches. So when an older adult wakes up at 3 a.m., it's not always a disorder. Sometimes it's the body's way of saying, "You have entered a new season of life. Use this quiet time wisely." As we grow older, one of the most fascinating yet frustrating changes in our bodies is the shift of the internal clock, also known as the circadian rhythm. Think of it like the conductor of an orchestra, directing when your body feels awake, when it feels tired, and even when certain hormones are released. In youth, this rhythm runs smoothly, aligning perfectly with the day and night cycle. But with age, this clock slowly begins to move forward. This forward shift means that seniors often feel sleepy much earlier in the evening, sometimes even before the clock strikes 9 p.m. Naturally, if sleep begins earlier, waking also happens earlier. And very often, the magic hour of 3 a.m. becomes the point at which the body believes it has had enough rest, even though the night feels far from over. What feels like an unwanted awakening is really just the body's new time zone, an inner jet lag that comes with age. Science explains this change through the weakening of the suprachiasmatic nucleus, SCN, the part of the brain that regulates circadian rhythms. Over the years, the SCN loses some of its sensitivity to light, which is its main guide for timekeeping. That's why older adults may find themselves awake in the still darkness of the night, their bodies convinced that morning has already arrived. But this shift is not just a medical fact, it carries a quiet lesson. Waking up at 3 a.m. may feel inconvenient, but it is also an invitation. It offers stillness in a noisy world. At this hour, when most people are asleep, the silence can feel almost sacred. It becomes a space to think, to remember, to breathe deeply, or even to whisper a prayer. For many elders, these hours become a time of wisdom, where the mind is calm and the heart is open. So while the forward-moving internal clock is often blamed for restlessness, it can also be embraced as a gentle reminder that life itself is shifting forward. Just as the sun rises earlier in some seasons, so too does the body adjust with age. Instead of fighting the clock, seniors can learn to flow with it, welcoming the 3 a.m. hour as a companion rather than a curse. Another powerful reason older adults often find themselves awake at 3 a.m. is due to physical discomfort and subtle health signals. As the body ages, it rarely remains as effortless and smooth as it once was. Muscles ache, joints stiffen, and minor pains become louder in the stillness of the night. What might be ignored in the busy daylight hours becomes impossible to overlook when silence magnifies every sensation. For many seniors, conditions such as arthritis, back pain, acid reflux, or even restless leg syndrome can break sleep at precisely these early morning hours. The body, in its wisdom, is sending signals, sometimes gentle, sometimes sharp, reminding us to pay attention. It is not simply insomnia, but often a quiet call from the body that something needs care. Beyond pain, the body's essential functions also shift with age. The bladder becomes more sensitive, and nocturia, the need to urinate during the night, becomes common. Even a small urge can awaken a senior at 3 a.m., leaving them alert long after returning to bed. Breathing issues, such as sleep apnea, can also cause abrupt awakenings. What appears as a random disruption is, in truth, the body trying to protect itself, whispering, "I need your attention." But there is also a deeper meaning hidden in these health signals. Older adults often describe the quiet of the night as a time when they feel most aware of their bodies. In these moments, they realize that every heartbeat, every breath, and every sensation is a reminder that life continues to move forward. Pain may wake them, but it also awakens gratitude for the strength that still remains, for the years already lived, and for the chance to keep going. It is easy to see these awakenings as a curse, yet many elders choose to see them differently. At 3 a.m., discomfort can become a teacher. It reminds them to adjust their habits, perhaps a softer mattress, lighter evening meals, gentle stretches before bed, or medical guidance they've been postponing. Instead of fighting the body, they learn to listen to it. So when seniors wake up at 3 a.m. because of discomfort, it is not always a punishment. It is often a signal of care, a message from within. And if we respond with kindness rather than frustration, these wakeful hours can turn into opportunities for healing and peace. Sometimes, the reason seniors find themselves waking at 3 a.m. has less to do with biology and more to do with the small daily habits that gradually shape their nights. These habits may seem harmless, like enjoying an evening cup of tea, taking a nap in the afternoon, or spending long hours sitting instead of moving. But they create subtle ripples that disturb the body's natural rhythm. As people age, routines often become slower and quieter. Retirement removes the urgency of alarm clocks, daily commutes, and rigid schedules. While this offers freedom, it also means the body receives fewer strong signals about when to stay awake and when to rest. Seniors may nap during the day to make up for fatigue, but these naps can shorten the body's drive for deep nighttime sleep. By evening, they may fall asleep earlier than intended, and naturally, that leads to waking far before dawn. Even simple choices, like eating a heavy dinner late in the evening, sitting in front of a television for hours, or scrolling on a glowing screen, can confuse the body's inner clock. Caffeine, sugar, and even some medications linger in the system longer than expected, quietly disrupting rest. What feels like an innocent moment of comfort may later echo as a restless awakening at 3 a.m. But there is another side to this. Habits are not only culprits, they are also powerful tools for healing. Seniors who slowly reshape their evenings with gentle walks, calming teas, quiet reading, or light stretching often notice their sleep deepening. Exposure to natural light during the day helps the body recognize when night truly begins. Consistency in bedtime, even without work demands, teaches the brain to find its rhythm again. The lesson here is profound. Our days write our nights. Every small choice accumulates into either rest or restlessness. For older adults, this realization can be empowering. Waking at 3 a.m. becomes less of a mystery and more of a reminder that balance is still within their hands. So when habits quietly shift the sleep rhythm, it is not a life sentence. It is an invitation. A chance to look gently at the routines of the day and reshape them into patterns of peace. With small, mindful changes, the body learns once again to rest through the night, and the 3 a.m. hour becomes just another moment in a deeper, unbroken dream. Not every 3 a.m. awakening comes from the body. Sometimes it comes from the heart and the spirit. As people grow older, the nights can feel longer, quieter, and more reflective. In this stillness, emotional and spiritual restlessness often rises to the surface, stirring seniors awake. Life after 60 or 70 carries with it decades of memories, some joyful, others heavy. At night, when the world sleeps, the mind begins to wander through those memories. Regrets may whisper, losses may echo, and questions about the meaning of life may grow louder. Many seniors find themselves lying awake, thinking not only about the past, but also about the future. How many years remain? Have I lived fully? What will I leave behind? These thoughts can wake them as sharply as any alarm clock. Loneliness also plays a part. For those who have lost a partner or live apart from loved ones, the silence of 3 a.m. can feel like a mirror reflecting their solitude. Even surrounded by family, the mind sometimes aches for connection, conversation, or simply the reassurance of a familiar presence. The heart longs for peace, but instead it pulls the body awake. Yet spiritual restlessness has another layer, one that is not always heavy. Many traditions describe the early hours of the morning as a sacred time when the veil between the material and spiritual world grows thin. Some elders say they wake up because the soul itself is calling for prayer, reflection, or meditation. In these quiet hours, they may seek God, repeat affirmations, or simply sit in gratitude. For them, the 3 a.m. awakening is not a disturbance, but an invitation to connect with something greater than themselves. The key lies in how this restlessness is received. When treated with frustration, it deepens into sleeplessness. But when welcomed, with calm acceptance, by journaling, praying, or breathing slowly, it can transform into a source of peace. Older adults who embrace these hours often describe them as their most profound moments of clarity, when worries soften and wisdom rises. So while emotional and spiritual restlessness may wake seniors at 3 a.m., it also carries a hidden gift, the chance to listen to the soul. Far from being a problem, it can become a doorway, a reminder that even in sleeplessness, there is meaning, connection, and the possibility of inner peace. Waking at 3 a.m. doesn't mean you're broken, weak, or failing. It means your body and mind are still adapting, still alive, still wise. Whether it's biology, lifestyle, or emotion, these early wake-ups are messages, not mistakes. Instead of fighting them, you can learn from them. You may even find peace in them. So the next time you wake at 3 a.m., pause for a moment. Breathe. Ask yourself, what is my body telling me? What is my heart whispering in this silence? You may discover that these hours before dawn are not interruptions, but invitations, opportunities to know yourself more deeply, to care for your health, and to embrace the wisdom that comes with age. Waking up at 3 a.m. in later life is not simply a problem of sleep. It is a reflection of the body, mind, and spirit moving through the natural journey of aging. From changes in the internal clock and physical health signals, to daily habits and unspoken emotions, each awakening carries a message. Sometimes it is the body asking for care, sometimes the heart seeking comfort, and sometimes the soul calling for reflection. The truth is, these moments are not signs of weakness, but reminders of life's depth. With small shifts in routine, gentle attention to health, and openness to inner reflection, seniors can transform restless nights into pathways of peace. Aging does not take away rest. It reshapes it, offering wisdom in the quiet hours of dawn.